week 14 of the fantasy basketball season, and your fantasy draft deadlines are coming up here. And here's a few players I would look to sell off before it's too late and you can't get nothing for them, or whatever the case may be. So here's a few forwards I would sell high. The first guy is Kevin Durant of the Brooklyn Nets. Or Kevin Durant, who knows when he's coming back for this Brooklyn Net team. And this Net team, they're rolling with just James Harden and some of Kyrie Irving and a bunch of role players now. So the Nets here, they're going to be careful with Kevin Durant. And there's no timetable still for his return. I know he did some practice drills, playing some 4-on-4. But Kevin Durant, I will look to sell him off because I think we're going to see this a lot from the Net team. And they're going to save him for the playoff push and obviously the playoffs here, where this team's trying to compete for a championship with the big three, and then also signing Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge after buyout. So on the season, what a season it's been for Durant. His first season back after tearing the Achilles a couple seasons ago. 29 points a game, 7.3 rebounds, 5.3 assists, 1.4 blocks, 2.6 threes a game, 86% from the foul line, and 52% from the field. So Kevin Durant, we haven't seen him in about 5 or 6 weeks now play basketball. And like I said, they're not going to rush him back. The hamstring's a tricky injury, and if that thing gets pulled or tears, he's done for the season then most likely. So the Nets, they're just going to keep rolling what they got, and they're beating teams pretty easy with James Harden, like I said, and company. So if you're a Durant owner and you're trying to make the playoffs, and this is your last chance this week to trade him, this is the time, obviously, to do it and try to get some good value for him, because I don't think he's going to play a lot the rest of the season, and they're just going to save him. So sell him off. The next player is LeBron James of the Los Angeles Lakers. So we saw LeBron about 2 weeks ago go down with the high ankle sprain, and now each and every week the timetable is getting longer and longer for LeBron. And just like in Durant's situation, LeBron, they're not going to rush him back. They're going to take their time and be very cautious with him, because obviously this Laker team, they want to repeat and they have championship aspirations, just like this Brooklyn Net team. And LeBron now, the latest report from a couple days ago, he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks now with the high ankle sprain. And now he's out pretty much for the whole fantasy basketball season. And obviously you're not going to drop him. So right now, if you're a LeBron owner, you put him on your trade block in your fantasy league and see if you could get anything for him. Because even if he does come back in the 4-week time period, it's week 18, and that's week 2 of the playoffs, or week 1, depending what your league goes by. And LeBron, another great season it was for him. 25.4 points a game, 7.9 rebounds, 7.9 assists, 2.4 threes a game, 70% from the foul line, and 51% from the field. So this could be the last that we see of LeBron for the fantasy basketball season. So go out there and sell him. And at this point, I would try to get anything for him. Just I could have something on my team that could contribute. The next player is Kawhi Leonard of the Los Angeles Clippers. So Leonard here, he's another guy with injury concerns over the last few seasons. But he's had a great season this year, Leonard. He's ranked 5th in fantasy basketball, 26 points a game, 6.3 rebounds, 4.9 assists, 1.8 steals a game, 1.9 threes a game, 87% from the foul line, and 51% from the field for Leonard. And the last couple weeks, the numbers they pretty much have been the same: 23.7 points a game, 6 rebounds, 5.1 assists, 2.6 steals, 1.3 threes a game, 85% from the foul line, and 51% from the field for Kawhi. So Kawhi, we know he's a fantasy monster. And this season, the surprising thing to me, he's barely sit out a lot of games here. A couple back-to-backs he's even played as well. But the thing that worries me down the stretch here, if the Clippers, they got a pretty good seed and clinched most things, is they're going to play the load management game with Leonard. And I obviously could see that, because this team, they're trying to win a championship. They were embarrassed last season after blowing a 3-1 lead to the Nuggets, and we never got to see the Lakers and Clipper matchup. So they're going to make sure this guy's healthy and 100%. And towards the end of the season, I could see him on load management. And obviously, you don't want that if you're in the playoffs in fantasy basketball. But the last 3 games, Leonard, he's been amazing. 28 points, March 27th, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and a 3 versus Philly. March 29th versus Milwaukee, 23 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, 75% from the foul line, and 47% from the field in that one. And then March 30th last night versus the Orlando Magic, 28 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, and 2 threes. So Leonard, he's played that back-to-back, which is surprising to me. But I just see the other shoe dropping and then benching him for load management. And that's going to be big games he's going to miss if you're a fantasy owner. That's going to be in the playoffs with Kawhi Leonard. The next play is Paul George, his teammate of the Los Angeles Clippers. And Paul George, he got off to a roaring start earlier in the season, but he's been nicked up the last month on and off here with the foot injury and stuff. So George on the season, he's ranked 24th in fantasy basketball, 22.5 points a game, 6.3 rebounds, 5.5 assists, 1.1 steals a game, 3.2 threes a game, 88% from the foul line, and 87% from the field for PG-13. And the last couple weeks when he's played, 20.3 points a game, 7.2 rebounds, 6.5 assists, 1.2 steals, 2.3 threes a game, 42% from the field, 87% from the foul line. So his field goal percentage has gone down a little. And he's missed the last 2 games now on the 29th and the 30th with the foot injury. So George, he was a buy low candidate a few weeks ago. But now with this nagging foot injury, which obviously is tough in any professional sport, but especially basketball, when you're running, jumping, cutting left to right, and using your legs and feet the whole game. So George, the last 3 games before he went down, March 24th at the Spurs, 17 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. March 25th at the Spurs, 24 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists. March 27th versus Philly, 24 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, 3 steals, a block, and a 3. So the numbers, they're definitely up to par. But right now, if I'm a George owner, and with the injury, it's concerning to me. And he's another guy like his teammate Kawhi Leonard. They're going to give him rest, his Tyronn Lue and the Clippers down the stretch, to have these guys prepared and 100% healthy for the playoff push. So if I could get a good deal here for George, you definitely do it here as the deadline approaches in fantasy leagues. And the 5th and final forward, I would look to trade off this week's John Collins of the Atlanta Hawks. So John Collins, he got hurt last night in the Hawks ball game with the left ankle injury, stepping on his teammate Clint Capella's foot. And John Collins, he was a top 20, top 25 ranked fantasy player coming into the fantasy season this year. And on the season, he's ranked 53rd, 18.2 points a game, 7.8 rebounds, 1.4 assists, 1.3 threes a game, 83% from the foul line, and 54% from the field. In the last couple weeks, he's ranked 17th in the time with 19.6 points a game, 7.9 rebounds, 1.4 assists, a steal, a block a game, a nice 64% from the field, and 80% from the line. So John Collins, he's been putting up some pretty decent games. But now with the injury, I think the Hawks, they're going to be cautious with him too. But this Hawk team, they've struggled now. After they won 8 in a row, they've lost 4 out of their last 5, and they're going to need John Collins when it really counts most. But right now, if I'm a Collins owner, I'm definitely putting him on the trade block and seeing what I could get for him. Obviously, I'm not going to dump him off for anything if he's just day-to-day with the ankle injury. But his value is still pretty high after that big game March 26th, where he had 38 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal, and 4 threes at Golden State. March 28th at Denver, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. And then last night when he got injured at the Phoenix Suns, 9 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. So John Collins, he's been putting in up pretty solid numbers. I know the last 2 games haven't been solid for him, but he's a player right now I think I could put on the trade block and still get good pieces for him, even if the injury cost him a couple weeks. So that's a few forwards I would look to sell high or trade here in Week 14 of the fantasy basketball season.